Welcome to Living Forever Free. I'm Mark Machen. This is Jennifer, and we get to do this every week. Talk to you. Get to talk to you about what it means to actually live free. It's one thing to say, well, I want to be free, but hey, did you know you can actually live free? Mm-hmm. And so we just enjoy sharing our journey and sharing the word with you. If you're new to this, if you haven't seen us before, you can always go to our website, foreverfree.org, where right there in big, bold letters, it says, goodbye sin, hello freedom. And because when Jesus came to make us free, we can actually experience that freedom from bondage and freedom from the struggles and freedom from all of those things that we've always wanted to be free from. And that's what our experience is. So we started talking.
When you said something, I got interjected.
Oh.
It's better than you get to, when you realize what you're free from, and you've often said this, it's amazing to get to experience what you're free to do. So,
you know, that's really the key to the whole thing. You know, Jesus came, yes, to set us free from sin, disease, fear, darkness. Anyway, not sure where that came from. I got myself tickled now to set us free from all of those things.
Okay.
But so that we can enjoy life. It's what
I'm sorry, your face is so red right now.
So what we're free to do. So we get to really experience the great life with Him. Yeah.
Well, one of those free to do will be a topic that we're going to continue talking about today.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and last week I made this announcement, and actually, so that night as we made the announcement, this went live. But we have, if you've gone through Forever Free, if you've gone through the Foundations course that we have on the website, now of course it's free. You just join up and go through it. We have completely revamped the videos so that they include scriptures on screen. They include answers that are in the workbook. So there's a workbook. It's easier to download now. It's easier to get. We're actually in the process, hopefully by the end of this week, of completely redoing the workbook and just simply calling it a study guide. So we're working on finishing that up as well. And so it's really neat what the Lord's doing with it. I want to say this, for you that may be watching, that you have actually partnered with Forever Free, because you can do that at the website. That's not something that we talk about much, but there are people that have partnered with us at the foreverfree.org website. Thank you so much, because it's really enabling us to continue to make things better, to create better opportunities, to get this word out there. We are having so many people sign up, and it just continues to accelerate. So thank you so much. But anyway, check it out, and we've got more news coming. So there you go. All right, so what's our topic for today? Last week we talked about living content.
Right.
And you know, that's a big issue in life. People live more discontent than they do content. And so we want to continue that. But at the end of last week, we started talking about some of the keys to living content. So let's kind of go back to this foundational scripture in Hebrews chapter 13, verse 5. And then we'll jump right in to what we ended with last week. So Hebrews chapter 13, verse 5 says, let your conduct be without covetousness, and be content with such things as you have. For He Himself has said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. So we may boldly say, the Lord is my helper. I will not fear. What can man do to me? That is just powerful. And so he says, look, you can live your life. Covetousness, what is that? It is just, it's actually just being so discontent with yourself or with what you have that you look at somebody else and you say, I want their life. I want what they have. I would be happier. The grass is greener on their side. And focusing on what other people have because you are discontented with yourself. But you know what happens is when you learn how to be content, when you live that way, and we kind of use this phrase, learning how to be content in the journey, okay? Because we're always going to experience more. There's never a point that we just say, hey, we've got all the wisdom and the insight that we need. Let's just enjoy our spiritual life now. We have arrived. No,
no, that's definitely not it.
So it's going to take ages.
We always know there's more.
So you can experience contentment. But Jennifer, you said last week, and maybe I'll get into this covetous piece in a moment, but you said last week that one of the main keys to being content is thanksgiving.
That and gratitude, yeah.
That and gratitude. And that's not something that we necessarily were really good at before.
Oh, not at all.
But how thankful for me are you now?
Oh, I'm so thankful.
Put her on the spot.
No sarcasm there at all.
No sarcasm whatsoever. What were some of the keys in your mind that changed our heart to a heart of gratitude, that changed our heart to thanksgiving?
Well, and most people would like to think it's just automatically going to happen, but it doesn't. But thankfulness and gratitude, it actually starts as a choice, just like everything else. You just have to choose that I'm going to, it's something you have to exercise, so to speak.
Yeah.
But choosing to do it is the first step.
You know, we have 3 wonderful children, and we're thankful for all of them, right? Thankful for our grandchildren, thankful for everything. But you know, each one of them had different personalities.
Yes.
And one of our daughters was not the picture of gratitude. Was not the picture of Thanksgiving.
You're just gonna throw her under the bus today, huh?
I didn't say her name.
We only have 2.
You have a 50-50 chance of picking that one out. However, she would own what we're saying. It's not you know. And so even growing up with her friends, she was always focused on others. Always focused, not in a I want to serve them, but it's I want to be happy like them. I want what they're doing, or would complain about people not liking her in school, and she didn't seem to have the friends that other people did. And I remember one conversation that we had with her, and we said, "Look, who in your class has a lot of friends?" And she named a particular girl in the class, and we said, "So what do you think the difference is between you and between her? Why do you think everybody likes to be her friend?"
I don't remember this conversation.
And so she, you know, the thing about this person in her class is she was happy all the time. She was carefree all the time. She was smiling all the time. People just love hanging around her all the time. But our daughter, not so much, because she was complaining all the time. She was griping all the time. She could never find contentment and be happy with who she was. Because you said that last week. Sometimes discontentment starts because people are discontent in their heart.
That's right, about themselves. Absolutely.
You know. So Thanksgiving, so it really becomes an outlook on life.
It's either about yourself or you're thinking that somebody else is always the problem.
Ah.
So it's one of two things.
Well, really what it comes down to, think about it. People have different natural outlooks on life.
Oh, goodness, yes.
Okay, and so you may have grown up just being a sourpuss. You may have been grown up
Or skeptical.
or cynical or critical or judgmental. And so you might be the glass half empty
Right.
versus the glass half full, kind of person in terms of the way you see things, in terms of the way your outlook. And you might think that, well, that's just who
I am.
That's just who I am. That's just the way God
And I
made
can't
me.
change.
And so we accept.
Oh, and especially when you add well, that's the way God made me. I'm like, no, I don't think so.
I have so many thoughts hitting my head right now, but I'm just not going to repeat them
That's probably a good idea.
because I'm thankful.
That's right.
So so people use all these excuses. Hey, you just have to accept the fact that, I just speak my mind the way I speak it, or you just have to accept the fact that I'm critical all the time. No, you don't have to accept that about yourself, because we're going to get to some scripture here in just a moment, because we know people, we've grown up, we've had friends, people like that there's nothing that can make them happy. Nothing that even in the best of circumstances.
They will find things to gripe about.
That's exactly right. They will, instead of enjoying and saying, wow, this is awesome. Or if we, if we're on a trip, oh, this is amazing. We've never experienced. No. Let's focus on the one thing that's not great about the place that we're staying. Let's focus. And so the point is, like everybody knows that you have different people with different outlooks. But if you're going to live content, if you're going to do what the Word says, if you're going to be content with such things that you have.
And may I ask, the greatest place to start in a situation like that, if you're staying, you're in that environment, is that you may not like those things, but learning the art of being quiet. That's a good first step. That is actually something that can train, your mind as well,
Right.
is learning not to speak when things first come to your brain, I guess you could say. And if you have a tendency to be on the negative side, then you can train that. It can be trained.
That's that's exactly right. Look, in verse 4 of Philippians 4, it says, rejoice in the Lord always.
Right.
Always. And again, I say, rejoice. In other words, it's not, it's being thankful, but it's also learning to actually have joy and to rejoice. And so he says this, let your gentleness be made known to all men. The Lord is at hand. Verse 6, this is big. Be anxious or careful or worried about nothing. Nothing. But in everything, by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving. So sometimes we're praying in panic. We're praying in crisis. We're praying, God, I need you right now. And so we haven't developed the skill of always including thanksgiving in our prayer. As a matter of fact, you should probably start there. Even Jesus, when he talked about the Lord's Prayer, he starts out, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be your name. What's happening? Focus. Focus is, he didn't start off with, this is what I'm going through right now, or this is what I need right now. His focus is the source, it's the supply. He says, your kingdom come, your will be done right here on earth. That creates a heart of thanksgiving. So with thanksgiving, let your request be made known to God. And then it says, this is the result, verse 7. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding. It will guard your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. Wow. In other words, living a life of thankfulness, living a life of thanksgiving, and being able to focus on the things that you're thankful for, it will actually release the peace of God, which that's where your contentment comes from. Right? That is just powerful. And it says it will guard your hearts and minds.
You know, and I think if you really had time to think about it, those that are ungrateful, unthankful, not content, you know, that those kinds of things, it can really honestly boil down to the heart of the problem is the unbelief part. Is that there's a heart of unbelief because there's just no trust that things are going to get better. Or you've settled in your mind that there's no way I'm going to absolutely be able to enjoy this.
Yeah.
You know, there's just it's just a heart of unbelief.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Because if you truly believed what we know is true about our Father,
yeah,
then no matter the way anything might look at the beginning, we trust that He's going to work it out and it's going to be something great.
Yeah.
Or we're going to enjoy it. We're going to love it, blah, blah, you know, that kind of thing. So anyway, it's a heart of unbelief.
First of all, we're thankful that He saved us. We're thankful for the grace of God. We're thankful for forgiveness. Past, present, and future, it's already been taken care of.
That's right.
There's nothing that's going to separate me from my Father.
Right.
He is, and that's what it said. Why are we content? Why are you content with everything, in everything, with whatever you have? He says, because He says, I will never leave you or forsake you. And so I'm content because I have the one who can supply it all right there with me.
Well, we were discussing it on the way here. I was saying something about if we could ever have the understanding and just grasp the fact that our citizenship is heaven.
Yes.
I mean, technically, we're there.
Yeah.
And do you not think the God of heaven and earth, that the things that are in heaven, do you not think that He can make heaven on earth for you?
Yeah.
And give you everything you need? So, you know, if you know you're a citizen there, He's going to get everything to you if you can just trust Him and believe that.
Yeah. Yeah. A heart of thanksgiving is the natural response to faith.
It's we've discussed our responses to things, our first reaction. And if the first reaction is thankfulness and gratitude, then you know where your heart's at.
That's right. You know, because
it's an indicator of where you're at.
Yeah. So if I told Jennifer that I bought and I paid for her a spa day somewhere, what's her natural response? What's your natural response going to be?
Yeah, yay, woo, thanks.
Okay. Well, that's maybe a little more enthusiasm next time.
I don't want to be too loud.
I'm just kidding. So the natural response is thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah.
Even though you haven't seen it yet,
right?
Even though you haven't booked the appointment yet, that you believe that what I have given you and what I've said to you is absolutely
that is
true.
A great example of a belief system. Is that you've already bought and paid for it, but it's up to me to actually call and make the appointment.
Come on, it's like, and I'm going to tell on ourselves. But how many gift cards to restaurants that people have given us over the years do we still have?
Really? You just going to blurt that out? Tell everybody? We forget.
I know. We
forget we've got, when we have a stack, it's like a big stack.
Yeah, we
could probably eat out for a year.
We might. Oh man, or even some of those Visa cards.
Oh, I know.
You know that people have just blessed us with over the years, and then we put them in a drawer,
and then we totally forget about them.
that we have them,
Get them out. We're going to use them.
We need to come up with a plan.
We're doing it.
So isn't that great? And when they handed us that, you know what I said to them?
Thank you.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. And do you know what good it's done for me? Nothing. Why? Because even though I've received it, even though I've said thank you, we actually haven't implemented it or used it in our life.
That's right.
So you have to move to that place, though, of thanksgiving for what the Father's done for you.
Absolutely.
And as you do, you'll have peace. And then you'll have insight and wisdom on how to experience things. God will give you wisdom. James chapter 1 says, if any person lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, but who gives to all liberally. And he says, but ask in faith, doubting nothing. And thanksgiving is a component of faith. It's a characteristic of faith. If there's not thanksgiving, then there's probably not real faith involved. I think that's a really good point. Finally, brethren, whatever things are true, whatever things are noble, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are of good report, if there is any virtue and if there is anything praiseworthy or something that you can give thanks for, meditate on these things. These things which you've learned and received and heard and saw in me, these do, and the God of peace will be with you. And so again, it goes back to your mindset. It goes back to your focus. It goes back to those things. In the last few minutes that we have here, there's a lot that's happening in our country, around the world, that is grabbing people's attention. We have a presidential election coming up. We have division in our country like never before. We have anger like never before. We're seeing all kinds of things. And if you just scroll through X or Twitter or Facebook, or depending on what your interests are, what you will find is that people are focused and complaining about the problems. And you don't see, even, and we know the news media is this way, but I'm talking about just people and what they post. And you don't see people talking about the good things and being thankful. Now, sometimes on Facebook, people will for their families and things like that. But I'm talking about once you start getting into events and things like that, people are just not thankful. And it has created an atmosphere of discontentment. And in that place is where the enemy will get in and begin to work to divide families, to divide people, to divide churches, to divide a region, to divide a nation. And it starts with discontent. And so the Bible says, be thankful. Be thankful. Next week, what we're going to get into is there is actually, Jesus lived a life of giving thanks. Jesus lived a life that you can see in different places how the first thing that he did was he gave thanks, even when it wasn't enough.
Fishes and the loaves.
Fishes and the loaves is one. And just looking at that for a moment, Ephesians chapter 5 also...
What better example of how to live your life than Jesus himself?
That's right. He even said in one place, he said, look, the foxes...
Now that was a man who knew what he was free to do.
Yeah. How often was he focused on trying to get free from something?
Not
at all.
Thing.
That's
why he
free.
could walk through the midst of people who were trying to kill him. Just walk right through.
Yeah, free to do the will of the Father. Again, being content comes out of a heart of gratitude, comes out of a heart of thanksgiving. And so I just want to encourage you. So as we get into some things next week, and we'll kind of get into and finish up this topic, but in the meat of this is find things about your spouse, find things about your children, about your job, about your church, about whatever it is. Find things to be thankful for, and just start vocalizing that. And you'll be surprised at how much your week begins to change. And so it'll be awesome. So we love you, we bless you, and we will see you again next week.